Welcome to another episode of Chats with Chantla. I'm here with the amazing entrepreneur. He can do so much on the keyboard and music. This is Montelle Minnis, also his stage name as Tizo. Welcome to the show, Montelle. How are you doing?
What's up? I'm good. A little nervous, but I'll be all right. I'm good.
Yes, this collaboration is going to be amazing. You have so much insight in what you do, and a lot of people know about you, and they just know about you as Montelle, the dad, the husband, but not a lot about you being the entrepreneur. So
right.
I want to bring this in and highlight all that you do. I mean, I've got the opportunity to, hear some of the things you've done, work with some of the, hear some of the work you've done. And it's so exciting. So, we had so many people excited for this collaboration. When I tell you that there were so many people, I think there were like 25 shares talking about you being on the show tonight. So it is so exciting. So we have people already shouting you out. Your wife is shouting you out. Your daughter is so excited, saying, "Go, Daddy." Tybrissa said, "What's up?" And also we have Lisa who's watching. So thank you everyone who's joining in and watching and anticipating this amazing conversation and supporting Montelle and his story that he's going to share with us. So let's just jump right into it.
Sure.
And, share with why you became an entrepreneur. What drove you into this field to, work for yourself, on yourself in so many areas?
So music, it's kind of hard to look at it as a business at times because it's art to me. As a child, it was like how can I say, a coping mechanism. You know what I mean? When you go through stuff, you kind of lock yourself up. You do your music, listen to music. It's therapy for me. Yeah, it's therapy for me, especially songwriting. Sometimes you get some things that you don't really speak about or share with people. You know what I mean? You can write it out through song. You know what I mean? And you get it out that way. Like I said, art. So it's kind of hard to look at it as a business, but how many times have you heard multiple horror stories of people being taken advantage of in this industry and in the business? So it would be almost foolish of me to not learn the business side, especially when it comes to production. I shared a story with you earlier that with Teddy Riley.
Yeah,
one of our greatest producers of our time. He was signed to a person, I think, in the 80s. So all the hits you were hearing in the 80s, like from the Bobby Brown album that he produced, the show with Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, he was getting paid $10,000 per beat. And coming from where we come from, it's like $10,000, like that's a good bit of money. Then later down the line, come to find out his production was worth $200,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and the label he was signed under had control over a lot of the money, bank accounts and everything. So he wasn't really seeing the money that was coming in. He was content with the money that he was making.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, he comes from the hood, and especially in the hustler era too. So
right.
$10,000, it's like that's big money, but 200,000. So that's just one story to reference.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it would be foolish for me to not learn and understand the business and become an entrepreneur, if you will. Especially when it comes to production and then also DJing as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you shared that story when we were preparing for the show about Teddy Riley, I was shocked, but I wasn't, because a lot of times we undervalue ourselves when we
Yeah.
don't know our worth. And then also when we don't know the industry, it's so easy to be taken advantage of. And so
Right.
for you to speak about, wanting to learn more because it's making sure that you get what you deserve and understanding your value. Like you said, his beats and his productions were worth $200,000 and he was getting 10,000.
Right.
That wasn't even 20%. Like that was terrible.
Right.
It wasn't helping him, they were really taking advantage of. So it's really good that you're like, okay, I want to know about this industry so I know how to protect myself, because
Right.
you have to learn how to protect yourself. And I'm glad that you saw and heard that story early on. So it's making you take the steps to make sure that you are being protected and those you work with align with who in the work you want to do and align with who you are as well. But also you have a lot of people, as I said, you shared this. There were so many people supporting. So let's just shout out some people. Jay said, "What's up?" Thank you, Becky, for watching. Childhood friend Rashana, my friend April, she's watching. So there are a lot of people that are definitely here supporting us and just like really wanting to hear the conversation about who you are. So thank you so much for coming back to this platform every Monday at 7. And Dinesha's like, "What's up?" So you have so much support, local and those you know and those who you don't, that are supporting you and want to hear your story about entrepreneurship. But I also want people to know you're not just about just making music and writing. You're a writer, you're a DJ, you're an artist yourself. So
Yeah.
you do a lot of different things under this hat of Tizo. A lot of people are like, I just know him as Montelle. Well, that's why you're tuning in. You're tuning in to learn about who Tizo is. And he is a music producer, he's a DJ, he's a writer, and he's an artist. And you definitely want to continue to hear the story. But, as we're going on with this, Tizo, can you tell us about what are your key driving forces that keep you in this entrepreneurship?
Pretty much echoing what I said, just, I don't want to get to a level where, I don't want to use, for lack of a better term, make it big. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And get to a place where I don't know what I'm doing as far as business side. And like I said, not wanting to get finessed.
Right.
For real. Because like I don't want to be one of those people on like on the storytellers or behind the music and being like, oh yeah, my first 2 years of such and such, I never got paid for, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I
Absolutely.
don't be on that side of things at all.
Absolutely. And so with all that you're learning, what are some of the things, like, okay, you told us about the Teddy Riley story, but what are some of the things that you've learned that keep you driving forward? Besides, like, you talked about being finessed, but like, what does that mean for those who may not know, like, okay, the way you're using it? So when you're saying finesse, what do you mean by that?
Let me take it advantage of.
Okay.
Take it, when I say finesse, I'm sorry, I'm using slang.
No, that's perfect. That's not slang, that's your language and that's what you're comfortable with. But for those who don't know, we just want to make sure that we're, clarifying so they're on the same page. I knew what you meant, but I don't want to say somebody else.
Understood. Yeah, so taking advantage of. I just want to make sure I'm covered, as far as like in production and also DJing as well.
Absolutely.
I always want to make sure I'm covered. So those are really the driving force, because like I said, it's art to me first. You know what I mean? It's business second. We'll put it that way.
I know. I love that. And I love how you even talked about like protecting yourself because you don't want to be finessed. But I also love how you talked about why you became an entrepreneur and how you got into it, like the coping mechanisms and being therapeutic. I know that I'm not the only one. We listen to music and it takes you back. You can remember where you were when you heard that song. Right. Doing, whether it was a love story or a heartbreak, like you relate to so many things and it gets you through it. It really is therapeutic. So when you said that, I start thinking about music that I was like, yeah, I remember crying to that song, or I remember getting up and getting dressed to that, so music really charges you. And like you said, it does tell a story. And a lot of times, within you being a writer and you being a producer and being an artist, you're writing some things and it causes people to think they know a little bit more about Tizo than they think, because not ever, the story that a lot of times musicians are are explaining in songwriting isn't always theirs. It could be a loved one, a friend,
Right.
however,
Right.
but that takes a lot of time. So how many hours do you put into the levels of music production, DJing, writing, and being an artist?
So right now it's kind of tough because I don't have the space in my home that I would like to have to create consistently. Like maybe a few, not even about 6 months prior, I worked a job where there was a ton of downtime where they pretty much told you, listen, bring something to do.
Mhm.
So then, you know what I mean? I'm on the clock getting paid to do my job there. And I have my laptop, my little beat machine. I can just USB plug into the laptop, some headphones, and I'm going to work at work. You know what I mean? So I'm
Wow.
at least I was spending at least 6 hours at least a day because I do have to do some sort of work at work. So I was spending at least 6 hours a day, like making music and completely and creating the project. My brother Mulu, I don't know if he's tuning in. What up to him? The project we released together in August. Every single beat that I made on there was made at my job. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Down at the desk at work. You know what I mean, with my laptop. So I was able to put a ton of work in then, but now, you know what I mean, it's kind of tough because my son loves to get into everything that I'm into because, you know, what dad does looks fun, and it is. You know, he's
Mhm.
all these machines light up and everything. So it's bittersweet because, you know, it takes me to get completely in my zone to do, you know what I mean, what I need to do. And
Mhm.
at work, I was by myself at a desk, so I was able to just zone out,
Yeah.
you know, and my mind moves so quick. Sometimes I got to get ideas out immediately or it's
Mhm.
gone within 5-10 minutes, you
Yeah.
know? So I try to do that and then I'm easily distracted. So he'll come in and he just starts, you know what I mean? Plucking at the keyboard
Absolutely.
or he starts scratching on the turntable. So it's tough. So I have to step away from my home.
Mhm.
I take every Tuesday, I try to go to my mom's house and go in her spare bedroom and go to work, whether it be producing, whether it be writing, whether it be
Mhm.
adding more songs to the catalog for DJing. So everything music wise, I try to dedicate as many hours as I can on a Tuesday. And then on the weekends too, if I can get a couple free moments, then as well, until I can get to a comfortable space where I can really put in the work that I need to.
Absolutely. So you have a full-time job. And then, as we know, entrepreneurs, that's a 24/7 thing. Like
Yeah.
you've probably been wakened out of your sleep thinking about a beat and, things like that. It never stops.
Everything.
Yeah, it never stops. So, like, as you're saying, you dedicate Tuesday to that, but then
Yeah.
you're like weekends. And I believe that you're doing it every single day in some sort. There's no way if you're so attached to music, anything, a sound probably triggers something. So you're always creating, you're always doing that. So,
I hear beats and music and ideas in my mind all day. Like my wife and kids will tell you, I beatbox just walking through the house. Like
absolutely. That's
they're
a part of who
singing or
you are.
something, and they're like you make a song out of everything, but all day, literally all day.
Absolutely. And I can see why. I mean, if this is what you love and this is your passion, it's always going to be pouring out of you. So I
Yeah.
want to shout out some other people that are watching. Thanks for tuning in to Chats with Chantla. We have the amazing Tizo here, and he's sharing his story into entrepreneurship. So Jeff Jenkins wants to say hello. Jeff Young, who was last week's featured entrepreneur. Tony Bannister, my brother, he is just an amazing man. He's saying hi to you as well. So you have a lot of support, a lot of people listening and sharing the stories. So a lot of people just are really excited to support you and hear what you have to say about your entrepreneurship. So we're going to keep this amazing conversation going. So as you were stating about how many hours you put into beats and your entrepreneurship and your artistry, it does impact the relationships you have with family and friends. Tell me how that's going. How are you maintaining, or how has it been, your relationships been affected?
Honestly, they're not affected much at all. If anything, there's so much support from every angle, friends and family. And like I said before, if there's any type of effect it has, it's like, man, where's the music? Like, you know, where's the beats? Where's your jam sessions online? Like, what's going on? But it's not really like nothing negative. Never affected it negatively at all.
Wonderful. That's good, because not everybody has that same support, and
Right.
it does impact the relationships. And, just being completely honest, like at the beginning of like a lot of journeys and entrepreneurship, we pull away from our relationships because we're building.
Right.
And we're building that vision, and a lot of people may not understand that and then look at it as something it's not. So I'm so grateful for you to say that your relationships have not been impacted, and it's definitely something that I feel like they're doing more like pouring into you than taking away from you. So they're adding and not subtracting. So you are definitely fortunate and blessed in that way of keeping things, aligned with everything that you want to do. Thank you, Janae, for joining in and hearing the wonderful story of our featured entrepreneur tonight. Tizo, you have such a great story, but we have a new feature. And what it is we're going to take a commercial break, but the beat on this commercial break is brought to you by no other than Tizo today. So we're going to take a commercial break and come back with an announcement. So if you like that beat, and it was only a few seconds, that was something that Tizo, our featured entrepreneur tonight, has done, provided. There's so much more that I just did. I would have played the whole 2 minutes if I could have, but I didn't want you guys to be like, okay, what's Chantla doing in that commercial break? But we're going to take this opportunity to share some announcements with our viewers. So it's just a new feature. We're bringing it in. Chantla is growing. So as it grows, we want to bring you some other things. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and I want to make an announcement. So I wanted to share the screen and bring the announcement that this is Tizo's daughter. Her name is Ari, and she is having a holiday talent show. And so this talent show is open to boys and girls ages 4 and up. And anyone who is interested needs to contact her mom, Minnis. Today is the deadline for sign-up. So you want to make sure that you connect with Tiara tonight so that she can put you in the lineup for Ari's holiday talent show. It's Christmas time, y'all. We cannot gather. We have the inability to gather together. And Ari, this is very creative young girl, did this. And she is so creative. She's so much like her mom and dad. So this deadline for signups are today, December 14th. And the talent show will take place on December 22nd, which is next Wednesday at 6 p.m. And it will be on Facebook Live. So you want to make sure that you're tuning in and you're supporting. I also want to make an announcement about our featured entrepreneur who was on the show before, from Jonathan Pope Sr. He is the owner and creator of UQC Apparel, so it's clothing. He is having a Christmas sale up to 30% off. Make sure you go to uqcapparel.com and get some Christmas gifts and bless people. He has some creative and very unique things that will make you feel like you're wearing one-of-a-kind pieces. And we could not move on without stating that Minnis, the wife of our featured entrepreneur tonight, Montelle M, also known as Tizo, she has some amazing pieces that she has for sale that would make some great Christmas gifts as well. So you want to make sure you go on her Etsy page at Beautiful and Blessed and see all the different things. I was only able to capture a few of the photos that she has, but you definitely want to make sure that you're supporting prior feature entrepreneurs. So this is a great way to tune in, get some Christmas gifts, and really support those who have been on Chats with Chantla and those who are small business owners making big impact. So I want to get back to this amazing conversation also with our featured entrepreneur. So if you're just tuning in, this is Tizo. He is a music producer, writer, DJ, and artist, and he is sharing his story into entrepreneurship, and it is amazing. So I want to keep this conversation going because you have so much insight, but I want to know, and so do our viewers, what motivates you?
Life motivates me. Wanting to have a better life for my family motivates me. Wanting to be heard. I don't want to, not wanting to be heard as a way of like somebody needs to hear me, but as far as using my gift to be heard, you know what I mean? That's the motivation, always. Always, especially when it
Absolutely.
comes to, production,
Mhm.
artistry. That's the motivation. That's the motivation.
I love that. And I love that you say that's the motivation. And when you say I'm wanting to be heard, I felt that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of us that have gifts and talents that we feel muted, we feel unseen, and for multiple reasons. But
Right.
like when you're saying that you want to be heard, like I've had the opportunity, Tizo, to experience you and, hear some things like outside of, secular music. And then my first experience with you was, making sure that the worship was
Yeah.
just healed, so I was at church. And so there was a spiritual connection that I have with you through the music. And I know how it draws people. So for you to be able to be heard in so many capacities and so many spaces and bring about joy to so many people, I think that is totally amazing. I'm so grateful. And not only is your motivation motivating you, but it's also motivating other people that you touch through your music, including myself. So I know you have projects that you talked about that you worked with, I think that's amazing. You put out some stuff in August with another local artist who is making big impact. Just shouting out Christian Holt and his
What
stage
up?
name. Yes, that Mula. How do you say it?
Mulu.
Mulu. Okay, sorry, Mulu. And he is going to be on Chantla in 2021. I can't
Oh,
wait to hear his story as well. So Mulu has a great story and it's connected to Tizo. So, they are doing some great work together as a collaboration and also as individuals. So thank you so much, Tizo, for that collaboration and doing some great things behind the scene. Sometimes music producers don't really get as much acknowledgement
no.
because like I used to read the CD when you pulled it out the sleeve. I
Yeah.
used to read who wrote and who produced it, and that's how I learned a lot of stuff. Not a lot of people aren't doing that,
Yeah.
anymore. So you have to really promote yourself. So I'm glad you said yes to this collaboration, so more people know more about who you are as a music producer as well.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep going forward and moving on with this great conversation. And like myself, other people want to know. Tell us how you generate new ideas.
A lot of times they just kind of come from out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I can't even, it's hard to even say that I generate because it comes from literally out of nowhere. One thing that we do as a family, when we pray before we lay our heads at night, we always ask God to, touch our hands. You know what I mean? Whatever we touch, you know what I mean? You bless. Also open our ears, open our eyes, open our minds, give us a clear mind to think so that we don't miss, new ideas that he might be presenting to us to use and to do, you know what I mean? So I guess I can't say they kind of come out of nowhere because it's literally like God just kind of dropping it or shining a light on something to be like, this is it right here. This is, or, you know what I mean? I'm a heavy sample hip hop producer. You know what I mean? So I listen to a lot of oldies and take a lot of oldies and hear little pieces and manipulate them to make a new beat, and I feel like that's just God leading me to these places. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to kind of take credit for it because a lot of the times the gift that we have isn't even really ours,
Right.
hard to take the credit for it. You know what I mean? So, they come from him. I guess I came to that conclusion. They come from him. That's where they
Yeah.
come out of nowhere. That comes from God. He shines light, and we just take advantage of what we need to do at that moment.
I love that you said how you, first of all, you get your acknowledging your faith and where you get your creative talents from, and that's God. But the
Yeah,
other is how you come together as a family.
yeah,
And you
absolutely.
specifically, ask for it to be touched through your hands and creative, because your wife makes, handmade jewelry. So she's
Yeah,
working with her hands all the time. Your daughter is always creating, through her dolls, making clothes, all these different things that she's doing. And I think it's so amazing. So you're very specific on what you're asking to keep producing from,
yeah.
and it's evident. And my other thing, I also want to just take it back a moment is, a lot of people may be wondering, when did you start in music? How long have you been doing it? So like, when were you introduced to it where it became something that you really wanted to master?
Um, from I would say youth, of course. Like there's countless times where music would just be, how can I say it, the background for everything as a child. You know, like I would be on Varndale, shout out to the Hilltop, Varndale Street.
Right, right.
And I would be outside playing, and you would have Shauna and Miss Sharice live right up the sidewalk from us. So where my grandma stayed, and I stayed with her. She would be in there blasting like Kurt Franklin or Fred Hammond. You know what I mean? So I get that musical influence there. And then Doughboy, which is Rashauna's brother, see, he was a hip hop guy. So on the day Miss Sharice wasn't in the house, he'd be playing the hip hop music. We would hear that. And then we had neighbors up the street that would be playing R&B, soul music, or you would hear somebody driving by in the summer playing some Jay-Z, and it's like the musical influences come from right there. You know what I mean? That was from childhood. We got started. I think I started writing music around 14. No one really knew. It was kind of just doodling and saying some things, and I kept it to myself. And then when I got to high school, I met a group of brothers who was making that was starting to make music. I'm gonna use their actual names. You know what I mean? Kashawn Cook, that's my bro. Justin Howard, Cam McLee goes by Kills. You see him popping up. I'm trying to think. S. Jones, Stevie Jones. He was one of the main producers. My boy Anthony Brown, and then we brought in my bro Norm Craggett, who goes by Big Norm. So that was a team. You know what I mean? We kind of came together. I want to say around the time I was 15, and that's who I got started making music with. From 15, and we worked together for a while. We kind of spread out and did our own thing. You know what I mean? But it's always still love. But that's where we started at age 15, and then everybody, the majority of us, we'll put it that way, still has their hand in music right now. Shout out to, I don't know if Miss Danita Harris is watching, but shout out to her and Big Rod for allowing us to just annoy them day after day and come and occupy their space, their attic. We will be up there for, hours on it to, way into we shouldn't even been up and even at somebody's house at this time of night that we were doing this music. But I appreciate them greatly for just allowing us to beat on our craft there and just be able to do what we do, and learn until we get to this place. Like now I'm approaching 32. I'll be 32 next month, and I don't think I would be at the place that I'm at right now if they didn't just open their doors to us, and believe in us from teenage years. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying, just said all of that to say, yeah, I started at 15.
No, and you want to know what? And the reason why, you said you started at 15. What I loved about what you were doing, Montelle, is, you were sharing who you were before Tizo, and how you were able to be influenced to then walk in, that path of taking, like, this is who I want to be. Tizo started somewhere. It started at Montelle being influenced by all these different genres of music, all these different influences, having all these different people influencing you in so many different ways. Like a nice summer day. I remember I used to live on Varndale. You on the hilltop.
Wow.
You hear the music and you're producing. I think I didn't live too far from Brashana and them. I lived across the street. So it wasn't, we were all in that. You probably just didn't know, but we were all there. So you hear the music, in the summertime, just all the influences. So for you to say and where you got it from and where it started, that's just paying homage to your roots and those who watch you grow.
I do have to shout out too, because my Aunt Jackie's probably watching. I know my Aunt Julie is not. But those are two major influences with music as well, because my Aunt Jackie, you know how we be like, it don't even be blood, but because
Right.
of family, that's still auntie. Like, so
Right.
I mean, we used to go every like Saturday, maybe Friday or Saturday, we would go to Soundtrack. I don't know if you remember Soundtrack, right across the street from Ben Franklin School.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
the music store there.
Yeah,
I mean,
music store, absolutely.
every Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, and she would get everything new from hip hop to R&B. She would always go and pick this up. That's another. I have to say that because I remember riding around in her little red Honda, and she would have everything. And then my Aunt Julie just listening to, I mean, old records. And I believe that was the first thing that kind of sparked me wanting to DJ, because she would throw these records on and I would see this stuff on TV and I'd be up there trying to scratch a record and she'd be like, "Boy, what are you doing?" Because I didn't know any better, then like you're literally scratching the record doing what you're doing if you don't have the little slip mat thing underneath.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do have to shout them out most definitely, because yeah, like major influences, especially with oldies too. Especially with those, yeah.
Yeah, and you want to know what's so awesome is because as you're talking and as you're saying and you're speaking, there are so many people that are supporting this episode of Chats with Chantla and Tizo there because they have impacted you and you've impacted them. So I want to shout out Quindell. He's supporting you. He's watching, there are so many, there's Miss Julie Thomas is watching, and it's just a lot of things that you're talking about that's generating a lot of conversation. I want to shout out definitely Lena. She's a great friend of mine, and she's a woman and she knows all about music. They're always shouting them out. So I definitely appreciate that. And I just want to say your wife is like, your son is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
He's doing the same thing, and he's getting it honestly. He's definitely getting it honestly. And as you're talking to me, I'm just going to be so truthful. I hear music playing like in the background as you're talking, you were describing stuff. I heard Summertime, I heard all these different things because you're making me reminisce about really good things that, and we want to remember that. And especially when a time when we cannot gather, we're reaching for something that's reminding us and connecting us to each other. And music is definitely one of those. So I'm sitting here like, I'm so grateful for this conversation. So it's, it's resonating with me on so many different levels. But knowing that, you transitioned into the music industry and you're doing so much and you have your hand in so many different areas, there comes a lot of discomfort in doing all this. And so, what is your greatest discomfort and how are you managing it?
One of the things I said is going back to, all right, I want to be heard, I want to be heard, I want to be heard. But on the flip side of that, it's kind of, it's tough. It's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Putting yourself out there. And I'll reference, like I said before, the Erykah Badu song at the beginning of Tyrone, and she's talking to the crowd. Right. And she's like, "See how y'all vibe to this? Remember, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my so every artist kind of feels like that. Like, I'm putting myself out here. I hope you vibe with this. I hope you love this. You know what I mean? But I'm exposing myself, you know what I mean, in the midst of it. Right. That's one of the biggest discomforts in it all. But managing it, I just got to go do it anyways. Like, that's how I manage it. Step out, just jump out and do it anyways, regardless of how uncomfortable I feel, regardless of the discomfort, push through it anyways.
I love that. I love that because some people in their discomfort, they quit. Yeah. They don't push through it. They don't get to the other side. It causes them to say, okay, I'm done, because they looked at it like they're comparing themselves to other people and how quickly somebody else may be achieving, and that could be discouraging if you're comparing yourself to somebody else's progress and not really running your own race at your own pace. So I'm glad that in that discomfort, it didn't cause you to quit. It actually helps you keep going. So even though we have discomfort, now I want to know who or what are your greatest inspirations?
Of course, I can give you a long list of artists. You know what I mean? But right now, I'll say right now, my greatest inspiration is my family.
Mm.
Kind of cliche to say, but let me explain to you why I say this. I come in from work and my wife is sitting at the table picking apart beads and putting pieces together.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Making bracelets and necklaces and as soon as I get in the door, my daughter's running downstairs like, "Daddy, look what I did. Look at
Wow.
this." You know what I mean? Like my daughter literally takes cardboard boxes and builds apartments from glue and she'll paste them together. And I'm talking like it's nothing like some sort of just I can't even explain it. She literally has, I mean, doors on these pieces. She get sinks, bathtubs, and showers. You know what I mean? Like she's creating these things from cardboard boxes and stuff that she finds around the house. You know what I mean? My son, he can't even really put a full sentence together yet. He throws words around, but yeah, he throws his weak. He can use his. He's not putting a full sentence together yet, though. But he found a way to get to his sister's school iPad and found GarageBand, which is a production program on Apple products, and
Wow.
found pre-made loops. Now he's not creating these beats exactly himself, but he's putting the loops together to create a beat, though. You know what I mean? And he understands rhythm at 2 years old. And
Wow.
I can't even be in this house and not be inspired by my family, because I'm telling you, like there's nights where we're sitting up. Sierra will get an order at 11 o'clock at night. We're about to shut the house down. And she's like, "Oh, I gotta hurry up and throw this together, yada yada." We looking at the clock, it's 12:30. I'm like, "Hey, babe, I gotta go to work in the morning."
Right.
You know, we gotta, but the drive, you know what I'm saying, that she has to continue this business and continue to create, like I can't not be inspired. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Under the roof as these, or with the three creatives that I have in here with me, like they are my inspiration. That's who inspires me. And it's like, man, I almost feel left out. Like I gotta, you know, I gotta go get my thing going. Like, you know, so yes, my biggest inspiration. Like I said, I can give you a long list of artists.
Mm-hmm.
We all do that. You know, we all have artists who inspired us. But
Right.
listen, my family is my biggest inspiration right now. Most definitely.
I love that. I love it. I love, just hearing like your creativity and your greatest inspiration is just a touch away.
Yeah.
They're sitting at the table with you. They're waking up with you. They're having the conversations with you. Because a lot of times we don't have, those type of things that are happening. And, to hear you speak about your family is such an inspiring story, but it's also inspirational.
Yeah.
To a lot of people, because for those who may know your family or those who don't, you're giving us a little glimpse in why your creativity continues to grow and why you keep staying motivated. Like you said, there's no way you're walking in the house and you see everybody doing something and you're going to be the only one not doing something.
Right.
See why you're like, I want to be the outside one looking in, I want to be a
Right.
part of it all. And that's such a vibe. And not only is it such a vibe, it's so much synergy that happens in that creativeness at that time. So you guys are vibing off of each other. So I can just imagine what that feels like, what that looks like, and how it actually pushes you to create and produce some more things in the creative realm that you work in. So you are really giving us so much information. You're just, bringing us in and giving us so much glimpse of who you are as an artist. And so if you're just now tuning in to Chats with Chantla, this is our 26th episode, and we have the amazing entrepreneur Tizo. He is a music producer, a DJ, a writer, and an artist. And he has been sharing about his inspirations and his motivations on how he has become an entrepreneur, how he continues to move in that journey. And I think it's a tremendous conversation. So if you're just now joining in, you definitely want to go back and hit replay so you can hear it from the very beginning. But we're going to take another quick commercial break. And I'm doing this because Tizo provided the sound in this commercial break that you'll see. And so if you don't know about him, you are learning about him right here on Chats with Chantla. I love the beat. I wish I could do it for the whole 2 minutes, but I'm not. So I want to go back and I wanted to just talk about some more things. And I wanted to share the shirt that I have on. Okay. So the shirt that I have on, I'm going to share it real quickly. Tizo. So this is a shirt. I came across it yesterday. And you're just making me, it's so good. It says, God is great and I'm living proof. And I found this in a local mall by my house here in New Jersey. And the owner, her name is Lunick Boyd, and she is a creator and founder of God is Great Apparel. There's some information about her. You can learn more about her, but it is an amazing product that I have on. And I just wanted to share that with you guys today. And also, you can find her more about godisgreatapparel.com, but that's her family representing, and also Lorenzo Tate is also there wearing. So I just want to shout out God is Great Apparel. Thank you so much. And I have this amazing shirt on. So let's definitely get back to our conversation with our featured entrepreneur Tizo. And I just want to hear more about, some things that you're doing. I want to also just sit here, and I know you mentioned some of the inspirations that you have, and I know that you mentioned like a lot of different genres. So this is kind of like a very quick, spontaneous question. And my thing is, like, you have inspiration from so many different places. You have it from the spiritual side of it, and you also have from hip hop and R&B and all these different things that you talked about. And you mentioned Teddy Riley, Erykah Badu, and also Jay-Z. What have you learned about them as not just artists, but also as entrepreneurs? Like, what have you taken from the three of those people that you mentioned that you think are helping influence you, in your entrepreneurship?
I don't know a whole lot about Erykah Badu's business ventures and how she handles business, nor Teddy Riley's, but Jay-Z was my literal favorite artist, you know what I mean, since I started putting pen to paper, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's one of the biggest inspirations on the business side. Like, we literally watched this man go from just being honest, selling drugs, to becoming a billionaire. And I'm trying to say, how do I want to say that? Mm-hmm. We watched him become a billionaire legally. He didn't have to, you know what I mean? He transitioned from this lifestyle that he lived and was like, we're going to go full-fledged into this music. And you see what he did, like creating his own record label, and that's the thing. Like, his story is literally, people did not accept his music. They're not like his music at all. No, mm-hmm. We don't want to sign you. We don't want to sign you. All right, cool. You don't want to sign me? I'll make my own record label. I'll put myself out and I'll push until you have no choice but to accept me and appreciate me for who I am and what I do. Mm-hmm. I mentioned something when we spoke before about how did I say it? How often we Black and brown people approach business and mm-hmm. from a defensive stance as opposed to
right.
You know what I'm saying? We're always on. A lot of the times, we're just happy to be there. You know what I mean? We're happy mm-hmm. to have a little, but we're not on the attack. Like, listen,
right.
You need me here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we move the culture, we shift the culture, we inspire the culture. Like, you need us here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of the biggest influences when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Most definitely.
And when you said that to me about Black and brown people approach business on the defense, I was like, dang, that was like an epiphany. Like, it happens that way. And I think sometimes that's why we're so quick to, be aggressive sometimes. That's why sometimes not even just aggressive, but offended, easily offended, because we're coming from that side. And if you're just joining in, Tizo just dropped a takeaway nugget that's a gem that you need to put in your pocket, carry it in your book bag, put it in your shoe. When you're younger, you put your money in your sock. That gem needs to stay with you, because it is so true. A lot of times we're coming into entrepreneurship on the defense, and that causes us to be easily offended. Being easily offended causes us to drop our dreams. It causes us to forfeit, the agreements that we want to set forth, and understand that, agreements are different than expectations. Agreements are bilateral, and expectations are normally unspoken. And when you said that, it made me also reflect from the inside out about myself, and kind of wanting to know, this is why I want to be educated. And how you spoke about earlier is learning and understanding, when you sit at the table, what you bring to it. So I love that. And, if you didn't get anything else, and I'm going to make sure I put it in the comments, is to stop coming from the defense. And also, you block your blessings when you do that. You're totally taking yourself out of alignment. So, like I said, this conversation is inspiring. It's just informative. It's beneficial. There's so many different things about it. And I just want to say that Lena said she loves the beat and she wants more. And that 9 seconds that I give for the commercial break, I'm right there with you. That beat, I've been blessed to be able to listen to it for a lot longer than 9 seconds. But I wanted to expose you all to how I'm integrating his gift as a music producer into my gift. It was to put sound behind things. It just engages you more. It engages the audience more. So a lot of people who are entrepreneurs are thinking that, okay, how can Tizo help me? I just showed you in 9 seconds. And that was very attractive. Y'all are vibing, y'all are here, you're listening. So those small things, you need to get with him and have that understanding of how you can upgrade your business with music. You can upgrade your business by connecting with Tizo. You definitely need, if you're watching this and you're listening and you're trying to still figure out, I just gave you 9 seconds of why you need them. Literally. And there's more to come in 2021 from him in the collaboration with Chats with Chantla. He is so dope in what he does. And upgrading your business just with music. I mean, come on, everybody has an intro and outro in a show or something, and there's music behind it. I mean, you don't got to be a genius. That's one of the reasons why you need him. I mean, Janae, she had him as a DJ at her wedding. She'll always remember him. That's a memory for a lifetime. So there's a lot of things that you can do in business to upgrade yourself. And music is one. Connect with Tizo. But let's carry this conversation moving forward. I want to know, Tizo, is, how do you market yourself? And what, tactics do you use that you feel are most successful for you and get your name out there in the field of, in entrepreneurship and music?
With production, I don't market myself as much as a lot of people think I should, because I am picky with who I work with when it comes to making music. Like we spoke about before, a lot of times the people who want to work with me, we don't really align spiritually, vibe, whatever. We don't really align. So I kind of pull back, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not how can I say it? I'm not a person who makes beats and just sends them out. Now I've done it before and I've regretted it. Just, all right, let me get some beats. Cool. I send you a bunch of beats, and what you make with it is like not what I would do per se, or not anything that I would want to connect with. You know what I'm saying? And I would be disappointed at the end, and it felt like I sold myself out. You know what I mean? Doing that. And I've sold beats doing that too, and the project has not come out the way that I would like it to, and it's the reason why I'm kind of guarded, because every beat I make is like my baby. You know what I'm saying? So like putting it into someone else's hands, I wanted to be cared for and something, you know what I mean? And something great created from it. Like, you know what I mean? There's a difference between a beat maker and a producer. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, a beat maker will kind of send you beats. I want to be a part of the production the whole way through. That's what a producer does from the beginning. Listen, I have this beat. I might build the vision for you. You know what I mean? You bring the lyrics, and I want to be there with you through the whole mixing process, how it sounds, even with post-production, even if there's something that we might have missed in the beginning, or if there's certain sounds that I heard in my mind, like, oh, we can add this right here we can drop the beat at this point right here and add a violin right here, so that it gives it a different, I want to be part of all of that, not just send you a finished product and, you know what I mean, you just throw whatever your lyrics on it or whatever and going about your way. Like, no, I want to produce the whole song with you. That's why I'm picky and don't really market with production. With DJing on the other side, word of mouth couldn't be a better promotion. You know what I mean? So it's really word of mouth, and then through Facebook, you know what I mean? Not Facebook, but social media, period. I always say, like, when you DJ in front of a crowd, if you're in a crowd of 100 150 people, you're putting your resume in DJing with 150 people. You know what I'm saying? So if I kill it that night, that's 150 different opportunities, you know what I mean, that could come from that. So like I said, word of mouth, and then also being in, you know what I mean, these different events and doing your job. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, if I bomb, that's 150 opportunities I just lost.
Right.
So, like I said, word of mouth, and actually being at these different events, like being different places and DJing, like, that's a way. And then also social media, especially right now. I know this past summer I had a lot of gigs and everything lined up and lost the majority of them from the pandemic going about, you know. So that's when I was like, you know, let's go online.
Right.
Let's go online. Let's set up do a little setup. You know what I mean? People were depressed and bored and in the house, tired of their spouses and kids.
Right.
Like, so that's the best way for me right now, especially the best way to go about it is social media. And then, like I said, word of mouth couldn't be a better promotional tool, you know?
Absolutely. So I was going to move into the next question, but I can't wait. So you guys may have missed this flyer that Tizo has out. So I'm going to share it, give him the opportunity to, give us a little bit about what's happening in this flyer. Sorry, let me get it up for you. And as soon as I get it, yes, I will. So this flyer here, so today it's going down right after Chats with Chantla from 8:30 to 9:30. So you heard him talk about transitioning. He had a lot of face-to-face gigs that were planned for this summer and planned that did not happen because of COVID-19. So the pandemic totally shifted how he was able to impact and move about and connect with people through his music. So tonight, immediately after Chats with Chantla at 8:30, Tizo is having a jam session.
Yeah.
A jam session is going to be the bomb. You want to make sure that you're present. You want to make sure that you're pouring into him, not just by sharing and liking, but also cash apping him, tip him at Mr. Minnis, on Cash App, PayPal, and also Venmo. There are 3 ways that you can do this if you want to financially do a contribution to him. And Tizo, tell us a little bit about this jam session. Tell us why you chose to do this. I know you did it a while back and you might have, stepped away from it, and you're doing it again tonight. I think it's a perfect opportunity. People are watching and supporting so they can continue it. But what moved you to kind of do this right now?
Exactly what you said. Like, I had gone away from it just from working so much. And by the time I get done with work, like what I do now is physically taxing, like mentally and physically. I'm tired when I get home. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I come home, I'll eat, I'll get a shower, I'll play with the kids. And it's like, man, I don't even want to even mess with music right now. Sometimes it's like that. I'm just being honest. It's like, I just need to get back to that because, like I said, it's therapy for me. I'm like, my wife will tell you, like, I'm grouchy and grumpy, and when I can't get to the music, I'm like on edge. Like I said, it's my escape at times. So, like I said, I was doing this during the shutdown, and I was like, man, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. And especially tonight, you know what I mean? Especially after me explaining, you know what I mean, that what I've done through music and getting to this point, you know, why not do a little jam session? And I didn't put it, but it's going to be a 90s jam session, especially the music that
Okay.
especially the music that we came up on. That's what Varndale Street, it's our generation. That's why
Right.
I put I made the background with the cassette tapes, because all the music that you're going to hear is going to be music that you would make little stop tapes with, you know what I mean, getting them from the radio station. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you for including me in your generation. I mean, I am your generation, but I ain't your age. But I appreciate that. It made me feel young for a moment, but I know all about the cassette tape. I know all about that. That is amazing. I mean, it's a perfect timing. People
Yeah.
are watching. It's a great time to celebrate because you can't get together. Like music is an instant uplifter. At least for me, it is. It just makes me vibe. It's great, and I love that you're talking about bringing the '90s back because I'm just gonna say it. A lot of the music that is out right now, I'm just, it don't bother me. I'm like, I don't know nothing about that. Like let me go back and let me pull up YouTube and get my playlist, and pull some of that stuff out. You know what I mean? Like I want to hear.
I'm kind of in the middle. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can go either way, but I'm such an old soul when it comes to music. Like it's tough to get with some of the stuff that's out now. That's another that kind of those a tiffin with DJing too, because you have to play this music. You know what I mean? Because I got a lot of cats younger than me that's hiring me to do gigs, and I'm like, they want to hear the music that I really don't care for.
Yeah. About it is how, like, I would say, Tizo, how you're able to bring it together. A lot of the artists today are sampling the music from the 90s and earlier. You know what I mean? It's not hard to hear a Michael Jackson on being sampled. You might get a beat from someone else like Blackstreet, all these different things that have happened. So a lot of it may not be the same vibe, but they're sampling a lot of the music that happened in the 90s.
Now I'm feeling like how my mom and my aunts and uncles used to feel like, boy, you don't know nothing about that song. That was this, and this.
Right.
And I'm 32 hearing these songs like, yo, this was such and such. Oh, I'm trying to think of the first song that I really noticed they sampled. It might have been Brownstone. I can't remember the name of the song, the title of the song, but I'm like, oh, this is, why would you can't touch this music. Like you gotta leave this alone. Like go a little further into the 60s and the 70s. Like you gotta leave the 90s stuff alone. Like,
right. I get it. I mean, that's probably why I loved when Versus had Brandy and Monica. I was like, oh my gosh. So it was so good. So, it just brings back this feeling again. As I said earlier, you can remember the first time you heard it, all these different things. And I know that's the type of music that you're trying to generate in your new ideas and what you put out as a producer. And I believe that you will be, you want to be able to have people sampling your music where it just transcends against generations, through generations. And also, it impacts different genres. I think that's what's beautiful about being a music producer and being a writer, because I think about Candy from Escape, and she is, she's wrote country music, she's wrote R&B, hip hop, like she's done it. And I feel like a lot of people, we forget, she's not just an artist, she's a songwriter and a producer. And that's the same thing with you. A lot of times people want to pigeonhole you in just one area that you do. And, you already spoke, you're, a musician, you're an artist, you're a DJ, you're a music producer, and you're a writer. So like, don't if I ain't pigeonholing myself, don't you do it,
Right.
It moved me into thinking that the skill set and the levels of skills that you have to be able to do that. So when you're thinking about some top skills that you need to possess, not just being in the industry you work in, but just entrepreneur itself, what are some skills that you feel like some of the top 3 you would want to share that you feel that's good for successful entrepreneurs?
I don't know if they're necessarily skills. one that I was saying was I totally lost. I had it on the tip of my tongue. Adaptability, being able to
Mm,
adapt, especially with music, like we just spoke about how much it changes. You know what I
right.
mean? Being able to adapt, especially in this industry, will how can I say it? Give you longevity within this industry, along with being able to adapt, being authentic with
Mm,
you adapt, still remaining yourself while you go through, you know, while you're doing this. You know what I mean? Remaining yourself, remaining authentic. And then the third thing I would say, always being teachable,
right.
you know, because regardless, you're always learning something. I had to teach my daughter that. I told my daughter that the other day, like, it don't matter what you do, you're learning something every day. You learn, and you do not know everything. Period. You don't know
Right.
everything. I'm trying to think of what referencing Erica Badu again. I remember hearing it on and on. A man who knows something knows he knows nothing at all.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And my mind always remain teachable. Always remain teachable. Always know that you don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing in business and in music. Now, of course, you gotta get you're at a place where you know and you can teach, but you can learn from, like, there's a cat, Matos, Mike Nicholson is his real name, but that's who worked on Ornery Kid, which is the project we put out with Mulu. Um, and he mixed and mastered everything. And he's, I think, maybe 20. And yeah, and I'm showing him different things, but he taught me so much because, like I said, so much has changed. There's certain things I'm hitting him up like, hey man, how do you do this, and this? Or we'll be in the studio session working, and he'll do something real quick on the laptop. I'm like, whoa, like take that back. Like, what did you just do? Like, what did you do? And show me how you did that. You know, so always remain teachable. Always know that, you know what I'm saying? You don't know everything, especially in this business, like business period.
mm-hmm.
Just set music aside, business period. You don't know everything and you always can learn. You always can
Absolutely.
learn. So, like I said, I don't know if they're necessarily skills, but three things most definitely I think you should have, you know what I mean, to be an effective entrepreneur.
I
And
love that. And
artist or DJ, producer, whatever it may be.
right, absolutely. And I think, like you said, it's not just for those who are seeking to be in the same industry you're working in, but
Right.
it's just being able to do that across the field of business and entrepreneurship. You want to definitely, remain teachable, be able to adapt. The teacher becomes the student just as well. The student becomes the teacher. I
Right.
love that. And you said, as a wise man knows that he doesn't know it all.
Yeah.
He knows he or she
Right.
needs to be able to learn more. I mean, and I think knowledge is power, and knowledge is something once you have, the only person who can take it away from you is you.
Yeah.
Nobody else can take, like, other things, superficial and materialistic things can always be snatched from you. But when you have that knowledge, it takes you to another level. It takes you to another table, and your growth as an entrepreneur, you may start out at the kiddie table, but eventually you want to be at the king's table. You want to be able to have a whole bunch of seats to invite others in. You know what I mean? It's all about transitioning. It's all about evolving. You spoke about it, how you produce music earlier in your age of doing this, and being a baby in this entrepreneurship until now has definitely changed, and how you're being influenced. Like, how they make music now on laptops, like that wasn't how it was. When I think about Prince making music, he was doing it, on 9 different instruments, cutting, editing, and all these different things. So,
Yeah.
not that if he wasn't here, he probably still would be doing some of the same things, but he also had to adapt.
Yeah.
He also had to adapt. You have to learn these things. You have to be able to adapt to survive. Like,
Right.
if you don't adapt, you will eventually die. You have to evolve or you'll eventually die. And so you want to keep doing that. And I think that's comes back to, like, planting seeds. You water them, you till it, and
Right.
you have faith that it's all going to work out. So I love that this has been a bomb, dope, epic, one of a kind conversation. You are the first non-traditional entrepreneurs. People would think on Chats with Chantla, you brought in the artistry, the music, all these different things that people aren't thinking of as business. And as you stated earlier, I didn't see myself as an entrepreneur. A
Yeah,
lot of artists, whether it's working with music, working with painting, working with other things, don't see themselves as a business, but really you are, and you're a brand.
right,
Tizo is a brand in the making. You know what I mean? Like you transitioned, from, okay, I'm just doing this as a hobby, where you could make a lucrative business out of it. You keep
right.
producing, you keep making things. So right now, I just want you to share your final thoughts with the viewers of Chats with Chantla. And again, if you are just now tuning in, thank you, Shaniqua, for tuning in. Thank you, Courtney, for always coming back every Monday and supporting it. Courtney Jacobs from Courtney's Wellness Companion. He taught us a lot about physical and mental health, keeping ourselves aligned and keeping us right. But there are people that tuned in tonight that are hearing this conversation, but they also want to hear directly from you, pouring into them. So I just want you to share your final thoughts with our viewers.
All right, final thoughts. Man, this is me kind of even speaking to myself. So God has given all of us a gift, a talent, a vision. Don't sit on it. Don't sit on your gift. God put that gift in you for you to use and for you to touch people. Use your gift. Don't compare your gift to someone else's. Never downplay your gift. One thing I had to sit back and realize was, like, age really doesn't make a difference when it comes to this. You know what I mean? They always said rap and music was a young man's game. Not look at a Jay-Z or a Nas who's in there. I know Jay-Z, I think is 50, Nas approaching 50, who are still relevant to this day. My cousin, I don't know if he's watching, Herb Larkins. I believe he's in his 60s. He just put an amazing R&B album out, and like, he's not letting anything hold his gift back. Like, period. Your gift is not always for you. Period. Your gift is not always for you. Your gift, you can bless someone with your gift is to bless someone, right? And in the midst of you blessing someone, you can be blessed with the gift that is placed in you. So don't harbor your gift, the gift that you have within you. Use your gift. Stir your gift. Use your gift. Use your gift.
I could not end this episode of Chats with Chantla any better than that. I think that was absolutely amazing. Stir your gift. Your gift will definitely make room for you.
Yeah.
Tizo, it has been an amazing conversation. It's been a beautiful collaboration. I'm so thankful for you saying yes. Without your yes, we would not be on episode 26 of Chats with Chantla. And if you are just now tuning in, you missed an amazing, inspirational, and touching conversation with our featured entrepreneur, Tizo. He has talked about his journey into entrepreneurship and the music business, with being a music producer, a writer, a DJ, and an artist. But you can learn more about his skill as a DJ by watching his virtual jam session that's happening tonight on Facebook Live from 8:30 to 9:30. It is going to be 60 minutes of 90s old school music. He is rapping the 90s. I'm so excited. You can support him by watching that, cash apping him, Venmoing him, PayPaling him through Mr. Minnis. You want to make sure that you support him. It's easy to hit share and like, but some of us are difficult when it comes to those dollars, and it's time to support. He would be making some more money if we were able to gather, but in our inability to gather, this is his way of putting us together. And music is an inspiring, great way to connect us, to keep us connected. And I so love it. And I just want you to know, you have people that are watching, people are saying that some of the best words of the nights were in your final thoughts, and you have so much great support. Thank you, Miss Cindy, for watching. Thank you, Terry, for watching. I thank everyone for tuning in to Chats with Chantla. This has been an amazing episode. Tizo, I mean, this is great. You got me feeling myself. You really do. You got me feeling myself for reasons of, I love the fact that I get the honor to collaborate with so many amazing people, not just entrepreneurs, but amazing people. And I get to hear your story, and then we get to collaborate and bring it to the viewers, and we get to bring it together. So again, thank you so much. What you poured in our viewers tonight, absolutely, absolutely, has been amazing. You know, so many people are proud of you, Brashana. I know you are, and I'm proud of them too. So this has been another episode of Chats with Chantla. We feature the amazing entrepreneur Tizo. So if you're just now tuning in, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for coming back every Monday at 7. But make sure you go back and hit the replay. But more importantly, he is going to be doing a jam session tonight from 8:30 to 9:30 live on Facebook. Get your phones ready, get your shoes out, spread out the furniture, make sure you got room to really jam and enjoy this 90s session that he's going to be giving to us with this 90s music. I can't wait. But make sure you have your phones ready, deposit, make a tip, send it through his, I'm going to keep saying it because I'm challenging you all.
See, I'll do that. I'll throw it out there, but it's like,
you ain't got to do it. I'll do it. Make sure it's ready. You can Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal, because he's about to get, we're going to be jamming. My house is going to be lit. Is that how y'all say it? It's about to be lit. And it's going to be all because Tizo, the DJ, is about to bring it to us. So thank you for tuning into Chats with Chantla. I will see you next Monday with another amazing episode with featuring another amazing entrepreneur. So it's been great. Tizo, thank you so much. I can't wait for 8:30. I'm going to be so excited. It's about to be lit. My husband's going to be like, turn it down. I'll be like, come out and dance. So you're going to bring smiles to my face. And I just really appreciate this collaboration. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week.